So for my winnable fixtures for game week 10, I will be looking at the first and early game of this week, which is between Manchester United and Arsenal. I have a strong feeling that this week's Capital One games have had a strong influence on what's going to be happening this weekend, and in particular with this game, Arsenal had a very testing game. 120 minutes, come from behind win, 7-5. I really wish I had a chance to see this. I may even go and stream it later on, but at the moment I am just focusing on this weekend. So due to that, I have a feeling that Arsenal are going to be coming in a little bit tired and a little bit injury ridden. You know, you've got Wilshere who's back, which is great, Sanya as well, but I also feel that Theo Walcott, who scored in the last EPL game to kind of give them the victory, he's probably not going to be, match fit. And there's also a lot of other injuries that I feel that are going to kind of be a hindrance to Arsenal. Where on the opposite side, Manchester United haven't really suffered any new injuries. They're probably still going to have the same setup, diamond formation, that they used against Chelsea last week. And they're also getting good news too that Smalling and Jones may be ready. They're probably not going to be ready for this game, but they are starting to come back. So I have a feeling that Manchester United is probably going to take this game simply because Arsenal is going to be coming in a little weak, and they are playing away. So again, it's kind of like a double negative for them, and that's why I am choosing Manchester United to win this fixture. Now, by no means is it always an easy fixture, but I have a feeling, like I said earlier, the Capital One Cup game from this week is going to be a little bit of a hindrance, and it's probably going to influence this game. Normally, I have a feeling it would be a lot closer, but not for this game week. Next, I'm actually going to be choosing Newcastle over Liverpool. Yes, Newcastle are going to be playing away. I normally find that is detrimental for players, but Newcastle are going to be having some good news with the likely return of Demba Ba, which is always an asset to them. I think he had a calf problem earlier, but they're saying that there's going to be a good potential for him to play for Newcastle. I guess the one hindrance for Newcastle is that they're still out with Tiote. He's still serving his 3-match ban, I believe. Up and down. You're going to get Bob, but you're still without Tiote. But I still think they're still going to have a good squad. Liverpool, they're still missing their number one goalie, Jose Arena. And I think there's also a defender that's out too as well. That might be... I remember he was good. But anyways, it's going to be a close match. Don't get that wrong, and this will probably be a good one to watch. And if you've seen any of Liverpool's matches lately, you will know that Luis Suarez is really on point. He's creating a lot of chances. So I just have a feeling that Liverpool is kind of due for a home loss, and I feel that Newcastle, with the likely return of Demba Ba, will be the one to administer that loss. So I am choosing Newcastle. And those are my two winnable fixtures for the week, and we'll move on to players to watch. Alright, so for Game Week 10's players to watch list, I'm going to start off with a Tottenham player who's jumped in value considerably over the last 4 game weeks, going up from 9.3 to now sitting at 9.7. So he's going to have to be a staple player in your midfield budget if you're going to want to have this guy and have this Tottenham exposure. But it's Gareth Bale. Surprisingly, his value has increased even though he didn't play against Chelsea in Game Week 8. But however, he has 3 goals and 2 assists, all coming within recent weeks. So he is getting you points, and he's a good staple player. And he's definitely one that you do want to have on your team if you need some Tottenham exposure. I believe their fixture run is a little daunting for them. They have Wigan at home, rather. And then they're away and away with City and Arsenal. But I'm finding that top tier players, elite players, play better when they play against someone or a team that pushes them, where they have to do their best. And that's when you kind of get players like Gareth Bale, like Juan Mata, like Wayne Rooney, expensive players who you got to pay for. They play better against these teams where you're like, oh man, they're going to go to City away. It's not going to be easy. But they do play better. So those are the kind of players that you do want to have on your team. So I would suggest having Gareth Bale for the easy, and sorry Wigan fans, but for the easy home win, which I anticipate they should have this week. Maybe he'll get you a few points and you can go from there. Next is going to be a more relatively affordable player coming from the Canaries up front for Grant Holt. His value has actually come down a little bit and stayed at 6.0, and in the last 3 games he has scored, and this kind of alludes to the fact that good players play, like what I just said, good players play against good teams and they do well. His goals have come against Chelsea, Arsenal, and he got an assist against Tottenham, and he also scored against Liverpool too. So, this is a player who plays well against good teams. You get a good team, they push you, you play better. So his fixture run, although right now, is going to be pretty easy. So it's kind of, like a half and half. Is it really the good teams that make him play better, or is it just that he feels he needs to step up? But we'll get a feel for that, because he's gonna only be playing really Man U at home, really in his next almost 10 game weeks, and then he's got the likes of Stoke this week, Reading, Southampton, Sunderland, Swansea, Wigan. So all relatively easy fixtures in terms of, if you want to invest in him and keep him for a while. So that's another suggestion too. He's cheap, and you can experiment to see if he's actually going to play well against these mid to bottom table teams. Now lastly, I'm going to go for Antonio Valencia. He's actually come down in value from his initial offering of 9. He's sitting at 8.6, and the reason I'm bringing him up, because the last 2 weeks he's got an assist in each game, and they've also awarded no, there's no bonus points. My apologies. I thought he actually got some bonus points now when I look at it, but he's gotten 2 assists, so he's got 9 points in the last 2 games. And it looks like with the injury to Kagawa, he's actually going to be playing, or starting, and maybe playing full at least 60 minutes. So that's a good thing for players, or managers rather, who have him and who have kept him. In terms of owner percentage, not a lot of people have him, only about 2.7%. So it is possible, you can jump him. And fixture list is relatively easy. They've got Arsenal, which is going to be a good match. It's an early one, so we'll keep the drinking to a minimum this evening, because I am recording this on Friday, so that way we can get up early and watch the game tomorrow. But then they've got an away with Norwich, home to QPR, home to West Ham, and then an away with Reading and Man City, and then that will probably be a very good match come December 9th. So again, valued at 8.6, he's kind of one of those guys where if you're going to have him, he's your your midfield guy. Most teams you normally have 2 midfield guys that are really expensive, and then you've got maybe 3 that are a little bit lower. So I do suggest those guys, and those are my players to watch for Game Week 10.